Well, it's Victorine and Michelle again here. Time for another episode of the Writing Gals podcast on YouTube. And we have been seeing a huge influx of new authors joining our Facebook group, the Writing Gals. And so we thought it would be a great chance to just round up some of our top favorite resources for authors, because a lot of times when you're new, you don't really know all the things out there that you can use to help build your career and help improve your writing. So we're going to talk about that today. Hopefully, even if you're not a brand new author, we'll find something to offer that you can use too. But before we get started, let's find out what Victorine's doing. What are you up to?
Oh my goodness, what am I up to? Well, I am really excited about this book I'm writing. I'm writing a rom-com. So I am more than halfway through with it now. So excited. And getting to the part that's hard for me to write, right? Because the beginning part, I am so into it and I write real fast. And then I get to like about the halfway mark, and then it's like the muddy middle, and I get kind of lost and trying to feel my way through it. So I'm kind of in that part where I'm like, all right, I can't start going towards the dark moment yet. Not quite there yet, but we're building up to that. So gotta write that part. That's the hardest.
So you're in the sloggy
I'm
part.
in the sloggy part, yes. How about you? What is up with you?
I wish I could just get into a book that far. Right now, it seems like I am just at the beginning of a lot of stories.
Yeah.
And I've been all over the place. And it's as soon as I feel really inspired to write and get going and make progress, my life decides to go.
Something happens, right? Isn't that always the way it is?
It's just a whole lot of things. So I've had a very dear family member pass away, lots of travel, arrangements, kids getting sick, microwave and dishwasher giving me problems, birthday parties, just like all the things. I will have gone, this is the most I will have ever flown in my entire life between the last week of January to the last week of February. I'm going on 4 different trips.
Oh my goodness.
In that amount of
going
time.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Utah, Florida, California, Nevada. In just those few weeks. And I didn't plan 2 of them.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm not writing very much, but I'm getting lots of inspiration. And I actually, you know what? The other day I came out and I opened my cheat romance that I'm writing. And I just let myself write in it for a little while. And it was so much fun. So I'm calling that one, I think you could probably call it a cozy romance. But I'm also calling it a healing romance.
Yeah.
And it's going to have still some so I'm just like everything. But yeah, I'm excited. I've also got my young adult story. I keep that's supposed to be my project this year. And I got another email, which I told you about.
Yes.
From another reader asking when it was going to be out. And I tried to kind of pacify her a little bit by just letting her know I'm working on it. My life is crazy, but I'm working on it. And she's like, my mom's praying for you in your book.
That's so sweet. Oh
it was so sweet. And I'm just like, okay, no pressure now. Mom of one of my fans is praying for me. I got to get this going.
That's right.
So hopefully March is a lot more relaxed and chill. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to let you list your resources, and we'll just chat about them a little bit first.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Are we ready? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's jump into it. My number one resource that I have found helpful to me is my own newsletter. This is something that you own, that you can control, that you can put out there, that is, to me, really super important to help you sell your own books. So I'll tell you my don't do this story.
Okay.
When I first published, I was all excited about my first book, but I didn't start up a newsletter. Well, that book took off and it sold 100,000 copies. And I didn't have any way to contact those people, when my next book was to come out. And so I
Yeah.
thought, me in my naivety, I'm like, oh, this is really fun and easy. Let me put out another book and I'll sell 100,000 copies of this one. And I put it out and like my mom bought it, I think. And nobody else bought it. And I'm like, oh, I have no way to tell any of these people that have, said, I really enjoyed your first book, that I had a second book out. So definitely, if you don't have a newsletter, start one up. It's okay if you're not going to send out newsletters. Just start getting subscriptions, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's free for like up to 1,000 subscriptions.
Right.
A lot of them are free for the first chunk of them that you get.
Right.
And so just set it up and just in the back of your book, say, to join my newsletter, click here. And you don't really have to do much with it when you're first starting out. And then as you get going, you can start figuring out what you want to say. And when I first started, all I did was send out a newsletter when I had another book coming out. And so if you want the no pressure newsletter, do it that way for a while. Also, Newsletter Ninja is a really good book if you want to read about how to do a newsletter the right way. So
yes,
that's my number one.
I agree.
Do you want me to
just
do
on
number two?
No, let me just on newsletters really quick. I will also say it's a good way, even if you don't have a new book coming out, for readers to get to know your voice. I've had a lot of readers or my subscribers say that they enjoy my writing just in my newsletter. But you don't have to feel pressure to do that either. It's also a way to, give an epilogue to lure people over, or a free book when you get going on. And so like Victorine said, don't feel like you have to like go in guns blazing, just have it available and build it over time. And most of the things that we're going to recommend today, or a lot of them, are those like early steps just to get started. And you don't have to be master of all things when you first start. You'll learn, you'll grow, and you'll develop your own way of doing things, because I don't know very many authors that do the newsletter the same way. Like everybody's got their own spin, their own take, their own method. So yeah, you make it yours.
I agree.
Okay. Next up,
I love KTIC Reports. Now, I like them for several different reasons. Number one, I like to research what's going on in my genre. So I always buy the Clean Romance report that comes out, because that is specifically what I write in. And I want to know what tropes are doing really well in that genre, what tropes are underserved. So like what people are searching for, but there are not a lot of books being put out by that, and things like that. I like to know what the covers are looking like right now, and which authors are really killing it in this area. And I can use those reports for research for my own writing, or I can use them for research for what I want to target for my ads. So what books that are like mine that I can target, because a lot of times when you go to set up an ad, you're like, gee, I don't know, what book is mine so that I can target. So KTIC Reports help me out a ton.
Yes, I really like them too. I really like the temperature charts where it shows you like the combination of like you said, the hot tropes, and then how many people are writing in that. So you can kind of decide where you want to focus your efforts if you want to write to market. Which, if you're interested in learning more about writing to market, there are several podcast episodes here on the Writing Gals. So you can go back and look for those to learn more about writing to market, which is a great strategy when you're especially starting out, but in general.
And we wrote a book about it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is true. We did also write a book about it. So look up the Writing Gals Writing to Market book on Amazon.
That's right. All right. And my next resource that I find super helpful is these newsletters that you can pay to be featured in if you are having a sale, or if you are putting your book for free for a few days. So BookBub is number one. It is the biggest, but it's also the most expensive.
And most difficult to get.
hard to get into, yes. And then they've got Robin Reed's e-reader news today and all the other ones. And if you want to know specific names of ones that have helped people, just ask in the Writing Gals group and say, hey, I want to do a promo. What promo sites are the best for my particular genre? And
Right.
authors are super helpful. We'll all go in and say, oh, this one worked really well for me. This one didn't work as well, and we'll share that information with you. I will say you can abuse these. If you do them too often, they become less effective. So
Right.
just be aware of that.
Yeah, and another thing when you're asking the group about which ones are good, there are also a lot of strategies around how to make the best use of them.
Yes.
Whether or not you're doing a free promo or a 99-cent promo, are you going to do like kind of stack some of the cheaper ones to build up momentum before a book club, or how long to leave your book on sale or free, or all these different things. And sometimes it's easy to get really overwhelmed with these things. But just remember that, like Victorine said, you can ask questions for other people's experience, but a lot of it's just going to be throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying things out.
Figure out what works for you, right?
Right. What works for your books and what attracts the audience and the sales using those things. So just get in there, maybe try one out to start with, and just kind of see what it does. And sometimes especially when you're new and you haven't necessarily nailed down your market, your cover, your title, those kinds of things, it might be kind of harder to have like big results with one of these things. But even if you find a few readers and they subscribe to the newsletter that you've put together, you're starting to build that foundation of, your fans. And so it's always a good any marketing, anytime you get your book in front of people, it's going to benefit you. So
I agree.
okay, so I want to talk about Pro Writing Aid and Grammarly, different, and I'm not going to say just these. I personally use Pro Writing Aid. I like a lot of its features, but there's a lot of different programs or services out there like this. So basically, these go in and they help you to pick up on errors, typos, to have suggestions on different ways to word things. They pull out, especially I like words that you're using too often, or if you've got like verb and noun disagreement issues, all kinds of things, punctuation. And so like for me, I like to use it to clean up before I would send to an editor, because you know editors do not like getting just crazy things to fix. I've
Right.
known a lot of editors that they may decline to you know work with you again if they get a manuscript that's just a complete mess. So,
Or they'll
so
charge you
if
a whole lot, right? You can
they
save
charge
money
you
by,
a lot more. So
yeah.
it saves you money, saves you the number of passes that you have to get with like a proofreader. There's so many different things. But even if it's just you trying to hone your skills, as you go in and make corrections and see things, it brings it to your awareness more, and you're able to kind of prevent them in the first place because you've really spent the time learning, oh, this is a tendency I have. This is something that I didn't understand about grammar, and now I do. There's just a lot of things, and you can use both of them free with small excerpts of your writing. And then if you decide, hey, I really like this, it works, then you can go ahead and get one of the subscriptions or paid memberships and unlock a lot more features, and also be able to put in bigger chunks of text in both of those things. So I really like those. And I also like to investigate new writing and publishing programs. And since I've been writing for over a decade now, there have been so many that have come out. So when I first started, it was Microsoft Word all the way. That was what we had. I even did a tutorial on how to format your file to publish directly from um, Microsoft Word, because that was what we
Yeah.
had back
Yes.
then. And since then, so many have come out. I'm a really big fan of Scrivener.
Mm.
And if you can find Scrivener, they usually have coupons, like especially during NaNoWriMo. If you win NaNoWriMo, you'll usually get a code for a discount. If sometimes conferences often offer discounts on Scrivener. This last year in the Writing Gals, we offered a coupon for Scrivener, right?
Yes,
Yes,
I
we
think
did.
we did.
We did. So maybe we'll have it again this year's conference. We'll see. So Scrivener is great. I really like Vellum for publishing. It's really
Yes.
robust. It has a lot of flexibility. It can make your book look top notch, professional as you're putting it out. But you can find the same sort of features on Amazon and KDP now, right? I haven't used it yet because
I have not used that, so I don't know. I use
haven't
Vellum
either.
too, and I really like it a lot. It's very,
Yeah.
seamless, and what I like about it is once you set up how you like your book, you import a new Word document, and it just sets it up for you. It just does it for you, and then
Yeah.
you can drag and drop, like, your copyright page, you can drag and drop,
Yeah.
and all my afterward stuff that I put in, I just drag it over to the new file, and it's all there, and so it's really easy.
Yeah. If any of you watching have some suggestions for some other ones that we have,
Oh, yeah.
then you go ahead and drop them in the comment. I know Dave Chesson has one that I've actually purchased, and I can't remember the name of it. Starts with an A.
Atticus.
Atticus, yes.
Yes.
And I need to go play with it some more. I haven't used it since it was still in its very, very early stages. But there's a lot of them out there. So definitely just check them out because it can make your life so much easier. And you want your readers on the other side of the Kindle or when they open up their paperback to have a really seamless, beautiful experience with your story.
Yes. I've
And
started
since
using
they're
Dabble, and I
oh yeah.
really like Dabble a lot. I like it because it is seamless between my laptop, my phone, and my iPad, and I
Mm,
can if I write something on my iPad and shut it and go to my laptop, it's updated over there, and if I am out to eat with my family and I don't wanna bring my big laptop, but I'm waiting for my food and I'm bored, I can set my phone up with my little, like, Wi-Fi keyboard. I have this Wi-Fi keyboard that folds in half, and it's really thin and tiny. It
oh
sticks in my purse, and I can write on there while I'm just waiting for my food, which is really nice. So that's what I
yeah.
use. I use Dabble.
That's awesome. I know Scrivener has an app, but I haven't heard the best things about the app. So I need to play with that a little bit more. But that is great. I've heard great things about Dabble too. Sally Britton was one of the pioneer people
Yes.
championing that program. I remember. Okay, so social media marketing is something that is obviously free to get started with,
Yes.
and it can make such a big impact. Just getting numbers. Now, it takes a lot of time. So the less something costs you, the more you have to invest your time in. It's kind of
Mhm.
the balance that I've found. So with social media marketing, it is free to just put your stuff out there, but you really have to invest a lot of time in preparing your videos, learning what works, seeing what's working for other people, seeing what's out there, just like you could sink a lot of time into social media marketing, but at the same time, for someone who doesn't have a lot of resources, it's something that can really, make a difference for you in marketing and getting eyes on your book. And so it's definitely a good resource for us to have
Yeah.
that didn't exist 5 years ago, really, beyond
Mhm.
Facebook. We didn't have anything like the landscape looks like now. And there are people making a lot of money on there, or there are people just slowly growing their business on there as well. So, and I would even put YouTube on there. Um, it's a social media platform as well in a lot of ways. It's a content platform, but there's a lot of social aspects to it as well with the comments and sharing and all that sort of stuff. And you can also build a platform for audiobooks like Victorine has taught a lot of classes about. So don't forget that. Okay. I want to talk about author groups specifically, probably in Facebook, but it could be in person. It could be like a critique group that you have in person, but you need to network. Um, even if it's just to have support and to learn. There is so much information out there to figure out, and stuff is happening all the time. New
Yeah, it's
things.
the landscape just changes so often. You need to keep up with it.
Right. And so being part of a group where you can ask questions, where you can see what other people are doing, where you can get, a lot of feedback questions. There's just so many different ways. It's a lot different than, Ernest Hemingway and Jane Austen and James Faulkner and all these people just typing away in their little room and maybe having an agent and
Mhm.
like it's just a different world. And so some of my favorite author groups, I really like Victorine's Newsletter Swap Facebook group, um, where it allows you to go on and make connections with people that write clean romance, and you can kind of share each other's books and promotions and new releases, and kind of swap there back and forth. But I'm sure there's lots of those on there on Facebook for
Yeah,
all
I'm sure
different
there are.
genres and groups. So just look for them. Critique groups are great. Some of my best author relationships that I've built over the years began in critique groups for my genre. And then we have to mention the Writing Gals.
Of
We
course.
have we have our own critique group, which is actually very active.
Yes.
It's taken care of by our moderators, and they do a fabulous job over there, making sure that everything's running smoothly and that people are following the rules. And lots of people make connections and get a lot of help over there with covers, with blurbs, with books. There's a lot of things over there. And then in the Writing Gals Facebook group, we are just devoted to providing a great community with a lot of resources. We have the Academy,
Mhm.
which we'll talk about in a second. We have a conference, which we'll talk about in a second. But we also just have a whole file section. So for those of you who haven't played around in our group a lot, if you go to the top, you can find the file section, and under that, we just have all types of resources that you can grab for free. And then I'm working on building guides for our group, which will allow you to have a quick reference for all of the different things that we do in the Writing Gals and who we are and that kind of thing. But we
Fantastic.
have a very active community. People ask questions and they get a lot of responses, and it's a great place to be. So I highly recommend the Writing Gals Facebook group, but there's a lot of other great ones out there as well. So, and especially if you don't write clean and wholesome romance, you write in another genre, there are probably a lot of genre specific groups out there to help.
Mhm.
So be sure and look for something that matches what you're working on. And then conferences and courses. So if you want to learn about your business, this is kind of like your education,
Yeah.
right? So I went to college. I got my bachelor's degree. I studied English and literature, and I learned a lot of things, and it was fun. I minored in rhetoric, but I'll tell you, although I learned some things, it did not prepare me for the sort of in depth how to actually create a story process that
Right.
you need to have as an author. And I know a lot of people study like fiction probably more intensely than I did, but I really personally believe that you're going to have a better education as an author if you widen the scope of your education and you
Mhm.
focus it on the things that are pertinent to you versus whatever a professor in a certain program thinks is necessary. And they're usually really caught up in the traditional publishing world, and actually don't really love genre fiction that much. They tend to be a lot more literary minded, and so you can definitely learn some things over there. But I highly recommend that you educate yourself with author conferences and taking courses. So many top selling, excellent writers offer courses that you could
Yes.
take to help you learn what they have learned. They
Yes.
just put it out there. Um, do you have any that you've taken, any conferences, courses that you just love through the years, Victorine?
So I've taken some courses. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I tend to buy up courses and then sometimes I don't get to watch all the videos. But I know Kiki has a course. And trying to remember all the
I'm currently
courses that
taking
are
one
out
from
there.
Inez.
Inez, yes, Inez's courses. She's got really good courses too.
Yeah, there's more. So many more.
There's a lot of really good ones.
Yes. And for conferences, we're going to the Nebraska Writing Guild conference in April.
Yes.
Victorine has been running for years.
And this is my last year.
She's like, so it's great. And then we're both going to be teaching at Story Makers in May. So that's in Provo, Utah. And we're going to be doing our Writing Gals annual conference in October. So that's always something to look forward to. We're in the middle of taking class proposals right now. And then we'll be opening up registration, I believe. Are we opening it in March?
Oh, I forget the timeline. Probably, yeah, I think it is March.
I think registration for our conference opens in March. So stay tuned. We'll make announcements about that. But we're also always having the Academy, which is one of my favorite things that we have done as the Writing Gals, because it is offering this library of classes on so many different topics that people have really appreciated, enjoyed, and found useful in our conferences, a lot of them. And then I'm currently working on a dialogue class specifically for the Academy. There's going to be more of that in the future. We're just going to grow it and grow it and grow it over time. We wanted it to be affordable and accessible for authors at every stage of their career and education. So you can find out more about the Writing Gals Academy. It's a $9.99, correct? A month subscription?
Yeah, $9.95, I think. Yeah.
$9.95 a month subscription that you can cancel and subscribe at any point, depending on, like, for me, I would be like, you know what, February is not a good month for me. Like, I don't have time. So if you just needed to cancel it, then you can cancel it and you can subscribe again the next month.
It's less than $10.
Yeah. So it's
very affordable.
We would love for you to stay subscribed all the time, because we're going to be adding classes just constantly. But we just really felt like it needed to be something that, you know, was really flexible for you and available for people that didn't have a lot of money to spend on big conferences and expensive courses yet. So that's our philosophy behind that. I hope that a lot of you who are on here know that our YouTube channel is also a great resource for authors, right? We're super excited to be bringing this to you. And I hope that you guys will continue to subscribe. And if you haven't already, and click the notification bell, because that way, anytime we have a new podcast coming on, it's going to tell you, and you can come over here and see what we've got going on. Victorine, thank you for being here today. It's always fun to see your face. And sometimes I don't see it often enough if we don't get on here on our podcast.
I know. It's lovely to chat with you.
Yeah, we just talk over Messenger a lot, but it's fun to just see you in person. So somebody's saying that they love our conference.
Oh, good.
We love to hear that. Thank you. And then I want to look at this. Good morning from South Korea.
Yay! Thanks for joining us.
I have been immersed in South Korea and a drama in my spare moments, and it has helped me to save my sanity.
Yes.
Oh, so somebody mentioned the whole DMARC thing.
Oh, yes.
And that she would have not been able to handle it without author groups. So see, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. So regulations and things that just come up, like, I would be completely lost without my author support stuff. Like my groups, my friends, all those networks that I've built over the years just help me to survive in a constantly changing landscape. So anyways. All right, everybody.
Someone also mentioned Elena Johnson's course. Forgot about that one. That's another good
Yeah.
one.
Great. And there's so many of them.
Yeah.
We mentioned those because all of those authors write in the sweet and clean romance category. So that's why we're all like definitely fans of those. But there's so many out there for whatever
Yes.
you and the Facebook group is a great place to get recommendations on a course. So if there's one you're thinking about, but it's a big investment and you just want to make sure it's going to be good, you can always ask, because anyone taking this course, and you'll probably get some recommendations on it.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you guys so much for being here, and we will be back in 2 weeks. And
is that right?
Yes. So we're doing
Okay.
every other Tuesday. So we'll be back in 2
I
weeks.
thought it was the first and third. Oh, wait. First. Yeah. You're right. It works out that we're back in 2 weeks.
Yay.
I'm going to keep this that week. You might have to get a guest on, Michelle.
Hey, didn't we have someone who wanted to come on already?
We do have a few people. I'll chat about that to you.
All right, watch in the group, and we'll make some announcements, because there's actually some pretty cool, exciting things that we've got coming up. So, anyways,
all right. Awesome.
All right, have a great day.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.